the top seaport by continent. Explore the ports that prevailed and controlled the sea trade by area and see the real about maritime trade. Hello everyone, this is your storyteller from Sit and Learn. This is the second video in this channel and I want you to sit more and learn more with me. You first will think of seaports because they are the stations that operate in this business. This video dives deeper, also as promised, to explore the best seaport in the industry per continent. But wait, best in what? Best in money flow? Best in reputation? Best in location? No. A seaport's goodness is measured by how busy the port is. In other words, the more cargo the port receives a year, the better it is. Let's start with Asia. And it's not a surprise that the busiest seaport in the industry is in China. But the surprise that it just surpassed Singapore seaport in the recent years, which means that Singapore have been the leading country in the sea trade in Asia. Look at the location of the seaport. It's a very attractive location for exportation and importation because it's out of the country. Like it's just located here for cargo shipping, and it looks like it markets for itself, and it goes out in the sea and says, "Hey there, I'm a good seaport here. Does any business want to use me?" It's Shanghai Seaport. It receives yearly 514 million tons of cargo, which means that the daily cargo in the seaport is roughly and ridiculously 1.4 million tons. Types of exports in Shanghai Seaport are cars, integrated circuits for electronics, computers, and telephones. Well, that's a lot of technology passing through here. Countries that partner with the seaport for trade are giants like the United States, Japan, Germany, and the United Kingdom. But in Europe, it's surprising a little bit. Rotterdam Seaport in Netherlands is the busiest seaport in Europe, and it's located on the coast of the North Sea that is located between Netherlands and other 6 European countries. It's the busiest seaport in the continent and the 10th busiest seaport in the world. Now you might ask, why ain't the biggest seaport in Germany or France, for example? Why Netherlands? It's not the leader of the economy in Europe. Well, the importance of Rotterdam port implies in its strategic location on the famous Rhine River, which is used to move cargo across several European nations. So the Rotterdam port links the Atlantic Ocean with the North Sea, with Europe through the Rhine River. That's a lot of strength, strategic strength. This port is responsible of 469 million tons of freight yearly, and cargoes in the port are diverse and include, but not limited to, fuel like coal mainly, foods, living animals, and pharmaceuticals. For North America, the port of Los Angeles on the coast of California on the Pacific Ocean is the busiest seaport, and it's the 15th busiest seaport worldwide. This port is important to the US because it regulates most of the sea trade between the US and Asia through the Pacific Ocean. Its cargo volume per year hits 178 million tons, which is actually much less than China's Shanghai port. However, Los Angeles port is a leading port when it comes to environment conservation and sustainability. It uses electronic machines in the port to handle freight, and thus it fulfills its commitment to reducing global warming. Now let's move southward. In South America, Brazil has the busiest seaport, which is Itaqui Seaport in San Luis City. It is in the southwestern side of the Atlantic Ocean. It handles about annually 58 million tons of cargo. The major exports from Brazil through this port are soybeans and iron ore. Just like other important seaports, this seaport is on the Atlantic Ocean, and it's the gateway to the rest of the world. And its high volume of cargo is attributed to the high population of the country and its high demand of rice and iron-made products and other machines, plus the large amounts of soya beans and iron ore produced and the necessity to export them. In Africa, South Africa leads with Durban Port. Durban Port handles about 23 million tons of cargo yearly. Cargoes handled in Durban Port are basically grains, petroleum products, fruits and vegetable oils. South Africa makes 60% of its trade revenue from this port. Wow, this makes me love sea trade more and more. South Africa also benefits from landlocked countries using this port, like Lesotho, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. This comes out with good income from fees and tariffs for South Africa. Now here's the port on the smallest continent, Oceania. It lies on the northwestern coast of Australia and it's a very large port. It handles about 450 million tons of cargo a year. It's apparently much busier than Brazil's Itaqui and South Africa's Durban ports. But why? Simply because Australia is an island that's too far from other continents. Therefore, it never has other types of shipping than sea shipping. Just imagine that 99% of Australia's international trade is carried by sea. Now let's move on to the big question. Why the US is not the leading country for sea shipping? Simply, the US does not operate its ports in the same intensity and capacity as China does. Most of the US ports work 1 or 2 shifts, whereas China's ports work around the clock. Plus, workers in China are paid much less, so China can bring in much more employees to operate its ports. I would conclude by this fact: regardless of the continents, the busiest 9 seaports are in Asia, and 7 of those 9 seaports are in China. Clearly, China prevails the world of sea trade because of its diverse and enormous amounts of products and exports. In the coming video, I will be more inclined to history. It's to tell good stories in sea trade and its laws. I hope that you watched the previous video and engage by commenting. See you soon.